Beautiful souls, do you have a prayer request or want us to send you healing energy today? Would you like us to be praying for your friend or loved one? If this is you, go to worldslargestprayernetwork.com to submit your prayer request. And while you're there, please sign up to join our team of prayer warriors. The angels say prayer not only opens you to miracles, raises your vibration, and helps you heal, but the more you pray, the more God's presence is felt on earth. Feel your angels' love as they surround you right now, and listen for the positive, loving messages your angels intended specifically for you in today's episode. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancius. Today, we're here with some beautiful angel stories from Angela. Angela, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you to be here. So I'm going to have you take it away and share your first story.
Okay. So I was inspired by you. I found your podcast. I was randomly just, it's hard for me to focus and concentrate on reading a book. I don't have time. I've got 3 little ones. So everyone told me to try podcasts. I was in kind of a dark place mentally, trying to find my way. And so I tried a couple of different podcasts. I stumbled upon yours and it just kind of clicked. There were stories that resonated with me and I continued to listen to them. You inspired me to begin to open myself up to the angels. I was born Catholic, so I had that strong faith, but listening to your words and everything, it all kind of just clicked, opened myself up spiritually. Just really resonated, especially in the place that I was in, things that I needed to hear, help heal myself. So I started seeing hearts everywhere I went, numbers. But then, after I started listening to your 30 days for the last couple months, I do that every morning. I get up and journal and listen to the daily 30 days. And I just, again, started talking to my angels more and being more aware of my surroundings. So I started writing down, as I saw signs from the angels, I started writing down my stories so that I had a journal so that, it wasn't just me, like I could go back to them and, it wasn't make believe. It helped me believe more, I guess. But one of the strongest one, just simple little things like, angels, can you show, if I'm supposed to do this, or if you're with me, give me a rainbow today. And, it'd be something simple as like my daughter pointing out a rainbow in a puddle, and it was just brought a smile to my face. I started collecting all those little stories. One of the best ones that stick out to me is, we talk about the husbands and how they're not strong believers, or not, they just look at us and kind of chuckle. But we were at the beach and I had prayed to the angels. I had gone down to the beach that morning and done yoga and listened to the meditation, and I'd asked for feathers. Well, we were at the beach and I told my husband this, and, we had seen a couple of feathers and I'm pointing them out. He's like, oh, we're at the beach. There's seagulls, and he kind of laughed it off. And I think I found 2 or 3 at the beach. We went back to the apartment that night or that afternoon. We were cleaning up and there was a feather in the apartment. And he's like, oh, it's from the down comforter. It's not, and I was like, where's the down comforter? There's not a single down comforter in here. So then we got ready to go out that night and he pulled out a stroller from the back of the closet that wasn't ours. We had rented this place, and he brings it out to me. And on the front in the net was this big feather. And it was almost like the angels had thrown it in his face. Like, this is the 4th angel. We're giving it to you now to show you that you need to believe in her and believe in us. And he brought it out to me. And when I looked at the clock too, it was 5:55 too. So it was just amazing because I could finally pull him in as well, make him more of a believer. And my daughters now look for feathers constantly and hearts too as we walk. So I love that. But the most recent story that really resonates is we moved about, it's almost 2 years now. We were just kind of in a rut. I think everybody kind of was with COVID, but I was a teacher and I needed out of it. And so we decided to kind of pick up and move 15 hours away from family, maybe 18 hours away, and just restart, like have a whole new, fresh start by ourselves, learn how to put up boundaries and everything else. And the first year was good. I mean, like a vacation, everything was well. And then the second year, finances started to kick in, hardships, what are we going to do? I took a job at the school as a secretary, thinking like, okay, I can clock in, I can clock out. I don't have to take work home. I have the same hours as the kids, breaks and everything. This will be great. And it wasn't a good fit for me. It was very toxic. It was very negative. It just wasn't for me. And I kind of knew that. And there was a mix up with my contract and what they could pay me and everything. So it was kind of my way out. But I also had some like deja vu moments. So I also knew that I was there for a reason. Like there was, something to be learned in that situation. But during this trial too, like, again, we're going back to finances and, can we afford to stay here? Do we need to go back to family? So in September, when I decided to quit because of the mix up and everything, we started to have a conversation about moving home. I had, 2 rough days of just closing down, shutting myself off, not talking, stressing about bills and everything. So we finally kind of got out of the apartment and went to a park to the girls could play and him and I could talk and just have like, okay, what is plan B? Like, what are we moving forward to? So we sat and talked about, okay, if things don't change, like come the new year, then we need to kind of start considering moving back, towards the family and everything. And, his father was in the hospital at the time with pneumonia. And that was kind of an eye opener too. Like, again, our family is back at home. Like, are we missing years with them as well? So when we left the park, it was 5:55 and my husband got another phone call about his father. He was fine, like, just an update. But this man was on his bicycle and he went by, but then he turned around and looped back to us. And I was getting the girls in the car and he came over and he said, "Hey, are you from Pittsburgh?" And I just laughed. I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're close to Pittsburgh." And my husband had Pitt gear on. He's a big Pitt fan. So he had come back and he was talking to us, he was actually from a town that was like 20 minutes, a little north of where my husband was from. So my husband was still on the phone call, but, we were talking and stuff. And he was asking me like when we moved here and everything and what we did. And he said that him and his wife moved down here before they were married, right out of college, and they thought they were only going to make it 2 years, which again is the 2-year mark that we're coming upon. He said, but then my wife took an interim position as a teacher, which I currently am in an interim position as a teacher as of right now. He said, that then she got hired right away as a teacher, and they have been here for, I think it was like 15 or 20 years, and they've never looked back. And so the more we talked, my husband got off the phone, but there were just a lot of connections as well. Like his dad's name was George. Well, my husband is George, and George's dad's name is George. Like he's a George Jr. Again, the time was like 5:55. He told me like if I needed help with the teaching that contact his wife, like she could help me. And, so there was just all these things that kind of aligned. So when we got back in the car, we just kind of like looked at each other like, okay, we just decided to go home and now this guy tells us that he's from the same area, and they didn't think they were going to make it for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, like, they couldn't be happier. And so, we sat down and like, okay, well, I guess we need to continue on this path and figure out. And the same thing kind of happened about 2 weeks ago when my husband, we're still kind of in that same situation. And we were talking about it again, and my husband went to pick up food we had ordered. And again, he's in his pit gear. And so somebody across the restaurant came over and was like, "Oh, are you from that area?" And my husband's like, "Well, I'm a little south, you know." And so it just so happens that the guy's wife is exactly from the same town. Again, small little rural area, like, so they were talking again, and he comes home like shaking his head, and he's like, "So you'll never believe what just happened again, you know?" So I guess the biggest thing is like we're trying to look at this situation like, okay, so the angels are either nudging us that we need to continue down this path, or nudging us that, and this family had talked about like their family moved down, now their grandkids are here and they're so happy. And, so it's just one of those things like, are they nudging us to continue down this path, or nudging us to go back home, or but and then back to two, kind of like looping in, when I left that office job, like 2 weeks later, they called me. I had signed up to sub. I agreed that I would sub because I have a teaching certificate. So I said, yeah, I'll come in and sub a couple of days. So the day I got hired, or the day I got approved, like, the whole process, that night, one of the teachers had a stroke in at homeroom. The next day I got a phone call, "Hey, can you come and sub for the next 2 weeks?" And I was like, whoa, what? Like, I was just going to do 2 or 3 days a week. Like, I had just gotten offered a tutoring job as well. Like, wait, I'm going to start both of these jobs, on Monday. But I said, oh, I said, let me take a minute, and let me take a step back, and I'll call you right back. And so I talked to my husband. He's like, "Hey, you have been praying about, financially and, finding your path and everything." I was taking your course at the time as well, the Finding Your Purpose course. And everything kept coming back, teaching. I couldn't get away from that. Then I got this call. So my husband was like, "You need to try it. It's 2 weeks. You'll know right away, or, you won't." So I called him back and I said, "Okay, I'll take it," not knowing the situation, just thinking she was out for 2 weeks. So then the principal, who again I had a connection with because I worked with her, had said, "This is what happened. Here's the situation. Like, if you would like to continue, like, she's going to be out for the next couple months. Like, this is completely, I'll leave this up to you." So then I was like, okay. So I took the role. And you make that connection with the students right away. So when they asked me to stay on, I couldn't say no. Like, I had also posted this story, and you had reached out and said, because again, my egoic mind coming through this negativity, like, I've had such bad experiences, but you had reminded me to maybe look at this in another light. And what is the lesson? Like, why are you being continued? Why are you in this classroom as well? So I guess that's kind of where I'm at. These angel story, the angels are pointing me in a direction, and I'm trying to, open myself up and listen and continue to follow the breadcrumbs. So that's the current situation. We're still at those crossroads right now of, which direction do we go? And the teacher is coming back supposedly in February, but again, there was a mix up with the pay scale, and I'm still a day-to-day sub versus getting the actual money that, should be being paid. So every time I think that, okay, this is the door opening, then something sets back 2 steps. So, but.
Is that an union issue though, too?
So because we're in Florida, I don't know, like in Pennsylvania, like I know who I could have gone to. Union's really big there. Florida, not so much. And because I'm a day-to-day sub and I'm working for like a contract company versus like the school, like that's the problem right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. They told me I could ask, they would give me that person, but I'm also a person not to rock the boat.
Mhm.
So I guess where I was at too was, if I want to teach here, do I stick it out
Yeah.
and just, you know what I mean? But so that's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah. I would encourage you to talk to your union rep within that district and just see, you're right. It's hard because, unless you're tenured in, or you're like really in, I
And so,
know
and
you
I'm
don't
not
want to make
really,
waves.
yeah, and I'm not a union member. And so it's just one of those things. And like I said, I just hate to rock the boat. But it was almost a relief too, which was kind of weird when I found out that I wasn't being paid because I was stressed. I had given up so much. I was back in the same situation before we moved here, stressed, overworked, going to tutoring after school, and then 3 girls of my own who one struggles with her reading. And, so when I found out I wasn't being paid, the hourly rate for what I'm in for was almost like a relief, like, okay, I can breathe, I'm a day-to-day sub, and I'll come and I'll do what I can. And I kind of thought that was weird too, so then I started to think about, like, is the lesson like boundaries? Is that what I need to set up? The learn that I need to learn how to put my family first. Like, that was the whole reason we came here. And the saying, no, I can't do this, or just setting up certain boundaries versus doing it with, and stressing out over it. So,
Friends, what if there was nothing stopping you from becoming abundant to the max in all things? Finances, time, nothing was holding you back from becoming your healthiest, happiest, most financially abundant self yet. Friends, thanks to our annual and monthly angel members, we've been able to grant over $100,000 in partial scholarships so that souls who want access to life-changing teachings in the angel membership have that opportunity. And we have more partial scholarships to give. Don't let your egoic mind tell you that you're not worthy, because the angels and I are here telling you, you are worthy. This is your year. But I can't help you get where you're going if I'm not working with you in one of my programs. Become an angel member now. Go to theangelmedium.com, then the angel membership tab to sign up. If you need a scholarship, let us help you. Scroll to the bottom of the angel membership page and click the link for partial scholarship options. Links are in the show notes. And thank you. Thank you for coming together as a community. Thank you for contributing what you can each month. And thank you for helping us reach hundreds of deserving souls with life-changing teachings in the angel membership this year. This is going to be your best year yet. Okay, so I want to bring through some angel messages. And this is like to anybody who's like, Angela, I feel you. There's people who are going to be listening who are like, yes, maybe it's not the exact same circumstance, but they are in similar positions where they're needing to make different choices. And all right, so here's what the angels want you to know is that when it comes to getting signs, a lot of people want to, I don't want to say put the responsibility on their spirit team to kind of make the decision, but it's not the responsibility of the spirit team to make our decisions. That has to come from us, because that is like one of the rules that God, universe, source does not bypass, right? Like it has to come from our own free will. And it really comes down to, what do you want? Like, where is your energy happier or more joy filled, have more ease or more peace, here or in Pittsburgh? What about the same for your husband? Like when he tunes into his own energy, where does his energy feel better? And what about the girls? Your kiddos. Any decision that you make in life, snowballs. So it doesn't feel good at first. It doesn't feel right at first. But once you stick with it, it does compound and compound and compound. And your grandmother on the other side is asking you to remember there's a reason why you guys made the move in the first place. And she said that's another piece of the puzzle that you really need to look at. But let's just kind of go back because this is a fascinating conversation. And I think it's so good for people to hear that when spirit is bringing in signs, they're not always telling you or you have to make this decision, you have to make this decision. It's more so we're with you. We know you're making this decision. We know this isn't easy on you. We know that you don't have everything just so figured out in this new home, in this new place, but we're with you on this and we're guiding things behind the scenes and we're helping everything to work out as best as possible. And I think that when we feel and allow ourselves to just tune into the presence of our spirit team, the signs that they're sending us, and feel that we are guided, we feel less alone. We don't feel like we're doing this all ourselves. And the burden of having to carry the weight of it all yourself starts to lift. And that's what they want for you, to release that burden from your heart and for you to know that no matter what you choose from your own free will, it's going to be okay. Like it's going to work itself out. When it comes to the teaching position, I do feel like you're going to have that in this upcoming like year cycle. You do have to do a lot of work in life. We have to put in like a lot of work to send out the applications or even stop into principals' offices and see who we can just meet with. But there's a lot there. And especially at your kiddos' school, I would really put the focus in over there on getting to know everybody this year as well as possible. Yeah. And then when it comes to what the angels were saying while you were talking, the more questions you can ask of your spirit team and of God when you see signs, the more details that you're going to get. Because when we phrase something a certain way, God, what should I do? It's phrased in a way that would bypass our own free will if they told us. But if we ask questions like, God, my heart feels best here. We made the move. My energy feels good here. My husband's energy feels good. The kids' energy feels good. Will everything work out if we choose to stay here? That's kind of owning the choice yourself, and the information that's going to come in is yes, everything's going to work out. So when we ask questions and phrase it in different ways, you become more in tune with more information that they can bring through. I think where a lot of people get stuck is they ask one question and it doesn't kind of like come back in the way that they want it to. And so they stop asking questions and their spirit team is like, no, keep asking the questions. Just, you got to ask us in a different way. This is like the rules of the game, that's just how it works.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I was actually listening to one of your latest podcasts, the healing one.
Mm-hmm.
And you had talked about the questions, and that kind of resonated with me, like how to go deeper in those moments when you're seeing the signs, that then you have to stop and ask the questions.
Yeah.
To get more out of it.
Yeah, I love that resonated with you. So I'm really excited for you. I'm excited. Keep seeing the signs, keep asking those questions, keep tuning in. And really, there's a lot of great energy, but it comes down to where you want to be, because I just got back from Pittsburgh. And I love it out there. I love that it's so hilly. It's just beautiful everywhere you go. Driving is so fun there. You're like up and down. You're not just flat like you are
Yeah,
here in Illinois.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And the people are warm.
Well, and see that's the difference too. Like now, the kids are struggling a little bit in school with friends and we're, fitting in, they're just, you go in the grocery line and someone's racing in front of you to get in front, before you, where I'm just like, okay, go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
we're back at home. Like you said, everybody waves and everybody, is kind if they let you out in the car lines and stuff. And so when we talk about going home, like I do get excited. I do, but then that's kind of where we were talking about too, is like, but why did we move here to begin with? Did we get what we came here for? If, so we're still going back and forth. But
Yeah.
but that's currently, I am working at the girls' school right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I still have it till January, well, till February as of right now too. So
Yeah. Let me throw a
it's a
third
different
option.
world.
What?
I said teaching is just a different world now too. I love teaching, but it's a lot.
It is. It is. We went through COVID where everybody at the beginning was like, oh, we could do this. We could teach from home. And within a couple of weeks, we were all like, no, we can't teach our
Yeah.
kids from home. And then within like a year and a half, everybody was, how fast can we get our kids out the house and back
Yeah.
to the schools? And yet, this year within our district over here, there has been a lot of like, talking negatively about the teachers, and we've gone back to this and talking negatively about unions, and yet teachers are not paid to this day what they should be at all. And this is happening with nurses as well, and they don't want you all to have unions, and they don't want you to have a retirement at the end, and yet nobody wants to teach their kids at home. And it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It is hard. And I'm just going to throw this out there. My husband is going to lose his hearing because he is in a band room that's big, but still tiny for having that many instruments in one room. There is no padding. There is no like reduction of the sound in there. And we know that very early he's going to lose his hearing because of his job. And we don't know exactly what that's going to look like when he has to get hearing aids one day. But it's hard. Like, it's physically hard on teachers as well.
Yeah.
And so my heart goes out to all teachers because I feel the struggle every single day.
And sometimes I think that's part of the lesson. Like I left a teaching job that I felt was like a bad environment or a bad situation, but was it to see that it's kind of like that everywhere, that, teaching is kind of, you know what I mean? Like I thought the grass would be greener in a different place and maybe, you know?
Oh, and I could tell you from being in my position, working with, a lot of years I work with over 1,000 people each year, just individually. And there are presidents and CEOs who think the grass is going to be greener, and nurses and hairdressers and teachers and name the profession, accountants. Everybody feels like the grass is going to be greener if they just physically move from this location to this location or change from this career to this career. And I can tell you that's not the problem whatsoever. It's not the problem. And I'm going to tell you, you could find happiness, where you are. You could see the brighter side of things where you are. There's negatives in Pittsburgh. There's negatives everywhere you go. There's positives everywhere you go.
Yeah.
What it comes down to is the way that joy and contentment actually work. If you allow your energy to become mundane, what energy actually feels like within your body is fruit sitting on a countertop, just rotting month after month after month after month and decaying. You need joy within your life to bring in. Joy is what the spirit is. I talked about this over on the kids podcast. People say all the time, you got to heal your soul or you got to grow your soul. No, you don't. You don't have to do that at all. There's a big difference between the soul and the spirit. The soul is the part of you that's from God, universe, source. Doesn't need any healing. It's perfect as it is. The spirit, your spirit here within your physical body, you are mind, body, spirit here as a human being. That spirit either feels joy and you're tuning into your own joy more and more, or it doesn't. And you allow life to become mundane and mundane and mundane and mundane. You can be content and have joy, and you can be content and allow your energy to get mundane. Choose joy. That's what people are talking about when they say choose your joy. Keep following your passions. Keep following what brings you that excitement within your heart. And that is what bridges the gap. Here's another lesson that people, I'm going to tie this into what I just said. So Spirit has been saying this in my sessions a lot. If you're watching on YouTube, I've got a cup in my hand, right? And it's filled with water. If I was to take just one little wedge of a lemon and squeeze it into the top of my glass, just one sip of the water wouldn't taste like lemon. The entire glass of water would taste like lemon because a little teeny drop of lemon infuses itself into the entire glass of water. That little squeeze of lemon is like a little joy in your life. You just need a little joy in your life. And the angels say it infuses itself into every other aspect of your life, your work, your colleagues, your partnership, your kids, your relationships with friends, your health, your mental, physical, emotional. It all integrates. So what happens too is mind rumination, your egoic mind. If you're going to be like wanting a reason to find the grass is greener over here, whether it's a location or a job, you can make anything in this life negative, right? Like you can talk yourself into it. Is it really? No. The truth of it is that everything holds both positive and negative qualities. When we get still and silent with ourselves and tune into what do we really want, that's where joy lies. What do you really want? And if you go back from the time that you're 11, 12 years old, starting middle school, you're not thinking about what you want. In middle school, you're thinking about getting good grades to appease your parents. And then in high school, you're thinking about getting good grades and doing the activities you need to do to get into a good college. And then in college, you're thinking about the rest of your life. And we put way too much pressure on ourselves. What am I going to do for the rest of my life? Studying, making sure that we get that degree to get the job. And then we get into the job and we're people pleasing with our bosses. And then we find the partner that we want to be with and we don't want to lose them. So we people please over there. And we have kids and kids come out and at 2 weeks old, they have their own defined personalities and we're people pleasing over there. You know, like we're not thinking about ourselves. And so it doesn't happen overnight. Like that process of returning to yourself has been disassociated from all of us for decades, a lot of times. And coming back to yourself takes patience and takes silence and stillness to tune into yourself. What do I want? And start with, what do you want today? What does your body need today? And one more thing, your grandma keeps coming through on a lot of stuff. She says, two things. You put timelines a lot on when you need to know stuff. You're laughing. So this is true, right?
Yes.
She's like, you don't allow divine time. So you put a lot of deadlines on things, and those deadlines are kind of mixing with you, right?
Yeah.
What if what spirit needs to happen comes 1 month after your deadline? That frustration is getting in your own way. The other thing is a lot of times you, and this isn't like a bad thing. She's just trying to like help you with this.
Yeah.
She said you often see 2 options, but you won't let yourself see the third option. And she said oftentimes it's the third option where what they're trying to bring through lies. Not always, but allow yourself to see the third option, or just go in and say, Spirit or Grandma, what is the third option here that I'm not seeing? And there's a lot of information in that third option that you need.
Okay.
Yeah. Yay. Awesome. I love this conversation, Angela. You are going to be just perfectly fine. I can't wait to get an email from you like a year from now and just be like, oh my gosh, Julia, it all worked out and I want to tell you what happened. Please send me that email once you know.
Absolutely.
Yay. Okay. And to everybody listening, we love you. Your angels love you. We're looking for more angel stories. If you could send them in through the website, we'd love to hear that. And have you on the show too. I promise you I'm not scary. We just have fun conversations like these. And just remember to tune into what you want today, what you want just today for yourself, what you want in general for yourself. And that is allowing your spirit team to guide you to your own joy in life. And as you follow your joy responsibly, right? With logic, spirit is leading you on your path forward in life. And just remember that they've got you. They're holding you. They're making space for you. And they're just bringing in so many blessings. They've got so many blessings to bring into your life. I love you, friends. Thank you for being here. Join me over on Instagram to talk about this more. All my love. Beautiful soul, thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Julie. You know I'm all about connecting you with messages from your angels and loved ones on the other side. If you've been listening today and you're super excited and just have to know which angels are around you right now, who's connecting with you, and what messages they have for you, go to theangelmedium.com. Register for a session. You can do a reading with me or a member of my team, and we can help you in making sure that your angels are doing the very best they can to support you and guide you to your best life. If this sounds like you, virtual sessions, they're only offered on my website. Sign up today. And if you're the person who's really excited, you can sign up for my Angel Reiki School to become a certified angel messenger. That's for the healers among us who feel called to grow their intuition to the max and serve humanity with their gifts. You'll learn Reiki, mediumship, how to deliver angel messages, and how to get clients. That's the Angel Reiki School at theangelmedium.com, or DM me on Instagram at Angel Podcast with any questions. Before you go, connect with your angels by placing your hands on your heart. Take a deep breath. Imagine a doorway filled with God's unconditional love is right in front of you. Step into that love and feel it as it fills your body, chakras, and auric field. Now ask your angels, what would you have me know today? And open yourself to the positive, loving messages they have just for you.